Hi there, I'm Jennifer Vanderbeek with scrapsoflife.com. Welcome to my channel. Today is Saturday, January 9th, and this is the first accountability update, we'll call it, for the Return to Creativity Personal Challenge. So it's been the first week and a couple of days. I think my schedule is going to be recording the videos on a Saturday, and so I can edit on, through the end of the weekend and get it uploaded by Monday or on Monday. I don't know. We'll see how this works going forward. But to recap, I know it's early, but to recap, I am making it a priority in my daily life to do something creative, because I have learned that that is a massively effective coping skill for helping manage my ADD. It gives me the dopamine, it keeps my brain engaged, and it makes it a lot easier to do all the other stuff that I have to do at work and at home and everything. And it's something I didn't realize at first. So that's what we're doing. It's very chilly today outside. I mean, the heater's running inside, but when it's cold outside, I like to get all snuggly inside. Since I'm not going anywhere, I'm wearing my little snuggle suit here today. So I wanted to show you what I've been working on. Now, I have succeeded in doing something creative every day so far. My goal has been at least 15 minutes. I have been able to exceed that for most of the days. TV time is a great time to work on knitting or crochet projects or some other sort of small handcraft type stuff. And so what I've been working on most recently is the holiday bauble or Christmas bauble blanket. It is a Cascade crochet along designed by Melinda Miller Designs. She is on Ravelry, and it is a series of crocheted blocks that look like, ornaments. And I have not had really good experiences with knit-alongs and crochet-alongs in the past. I usually get sidetracked, I get interrupted, and I don't finish them. So why last November, I guess, at the beginning of November or something, I decided that, okay, I'm going to do a crochet along, because I've only tried knit alongs in the past, but I'm like, I'll do a crochet along. And why I decided to do a blanket crochet along when I usually dislike making blankets, because they're really big projects I usually tend to lose steam on and just kind of like, I'll put those away. Why I decided to do that, I don't know. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that I wasn't working on things very much at the time, and I was seeking a jolt of something, and so I signed up. But I also did something that I almost never do, which is I bought the kit. I don't buy kits. Usually the way yarn projects go for me is I buy yarn because I'm like, ooh, that's pretty, I need to have it. And then at some point I'll come up with something to do with it. And so I'm usually using Ravelry's function of, all right, I have this weight yarn, this many colors, this many yards, show me what you got. And I'll pick something from there. And that works pretty good for me. Even when I go into and I find a project first, and I'm like, ooh, that's neat, I want to make that. 9 times out of 10, I'm going through my stash, which isn't massive, but it's considerable, at least investment-wise. I've become a bit of a yarn snob, thanks to my local yarn store carrying such amazing yarns. But usually, like I said, what I'll do is, even if I find a pattern I want to do, I don't know that I've ever bought a pattern or found a pattern and then gone out and bought the exact type, color, etc. of yarn that it's called for, that the sample's been made out of. I just don't do that. I'm capable of it, but I'm much more likely to go into my stash and say, okay, let's see, I can make this work. Or if it's something wearable, for me especially, I'm usually having to size up on the fly because they don't always make patterns in my size or the size that I prefer. And so yeah, I'm doing a lot of changes and adaptations and everything when I do a project. So buying a kit is not something I normally do. But because, well, I don't know, just because I went ahead and I clicked, you know, buy on the kit, and that was all she wrote. And this project is made with the Cascade Yarns Anthem. You see that? There we go. And it is an acrylic, and again, the yarn snob in me, it is 100% acrylic, but it's pretty soft, and I was okay with using acrylic for this because it's going to be a blanket. It's probably going to end up on the sofa, and the dog hair is going to get on it, so it's going to need to be washed, and it's going to need to be able to stand up to some rough treatment of getting crumpled and getting, you know, probably, again, I'll try to keep Duncan away from it, but there are easier things. Anyway, so I'm actually happy to say that I'm about 2/3 of the way through this crochet along. It was supposed to, of course, be done by Christmas, but I knew that that wasn't going to happen no matter what. There are 9 pattern blocks, so there's 9 different ornament squares. I'll show you the ones that I've done so far. And then, there's 3, you crochet 3 of each. And then you also crochet some plain blocks, some plain filler blocks. So I've got the first 6 done, and this has been a really fun project. I'm like really enjoying it, and I actually have hopes to finish the doggone thing. And it'll probably be my big project for the month, just because with everything else going on with work and everything, again, I'm a bookkeeper, I'm gonna be busy. So something like knitting or crocheting, oh my gosh, I keep saying knit. It's because I knit for so long, and then I'll dabble back into crochet. But crochet for me is honestly a little bit more instant gratification. And with these pattern blocks, I'm actually able to do them assembly line style. I'll do each color 3 times, then I'll go to the next color in the next row and the next color. Because of the way they're written, it works very well that way. So you're not just finishing 1 block at a time, you're finishing 3 blocks at a time, which that definitely helps me for feeling like, ooh, I accomplished something. So let's see, did I show you the stack? This is the stack of what's been done so far, and I've got a couple of blank squares, this one and then one more to completely finish week 6, and then so I'll have 3 more weeks to finish and then to seam up the blanket. So yeah, I'm actually hopeful, but it got me thinking, what other UFOs or unfinished objects, also known as works in progress, but UFOs is kind of more fun. And really, a work in progress makes it feel like, you know, makes it sound like you're actually working on it. Let's be honest, some of this stuff that I'm about to show you, I haven't worked on in a while. So yeah, I pulled down all of the works in progress, or UFOs, that I could think of, and there's probably more, but these are the ones that I had readily available. So first off are these knitted Christmas balls designed by Arne Carlos, and you're saying, well, what, they're done? Yeah, no, this is 2. There's 24 patterns. It's an advent calendar. Yeah, I'll just be really ahead of the game for for next year. But they had published the 2020 Christmas ball advent calendar on their website. If you do like to knit Christmas balls, then or find the idea intriguing, they're very cute, they're darling, and they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to knit. This one is my favorite one so far of the 2 I've done, but yeah, it's fun. Although I hadn't worked with double pointed needles in so long that when I started it, I'm like, okay, where did my fingers go? So there's one project that I will be working on periodically to get that finished. And then just before that, well, just before, back when the pandemic started, oh, I guess I don't have the pattern printed out of this one. This is another knitted project, and it's a little tangly. This is the Casapinka Breathe and Hope shawl. I believe that's what it's called, Breathe and Hope. And it was a knit along with my local yarn store. And yeah, I think I got through section 3 or 4 out of like 9, something like that. Anyway, I've got, I know at least one of the yarns is So Happy Jane. The other, do I have it? Nah, I don't know. I have it written down somewhere, I think, what the other one is, but it's two kind of contrasting but complementary colors, and they really go together well as it's being knit up. I just need to get back to it. That's all, you know. Let's see. So before that, I started this. Oh yeah, this is another mystery knit along. This one is this is the Mystery Afghan knit along by Knit Picks. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not right. That's not right. Not Enough Knitting. And it's just called the Mystery Afghan. And obviously there's no picture because, well, yeah. Anyway, I bought the pattern. I ordered the yarn. Did I? Oh, okay. No, I actually did order the correct yarn for this. It's Knit Pick Swish, which is really soft. And I got through, and it's cables. There's a bunch of cables. And I actually enjoy knitting cables. I got through the first section of like 8, I think, and I'm doing it in blacks and grays, or grays up to black, and God, that smells good. Anyway, Swish, Knit Pick Swish is 100% fine superwash merino wool, so very squishy and soft, as the name implies. But yeah, so I have like 3 shades of gray and then black, and then yeah, my brain was like, oh, I did something stupid because I'm going to be knitting cables in black. Y'all who have knit cables in black, or have tried to do any kind of, you know, complicated or complex pattern work in black, what were we thinking? But anyway, so eventually I will do that. That, I think I'm doing the lap blanket, the lapghan size on that. Because again, blankets and why do I keep doing this to myself? I know I don't do blankets. All right, so, and now, let's see. Oh, here's another project. I'm trying to kind of go in reverse chronological order, like the, you know, the newest to the oldest. Yeah, but there's a couple that I'm probably going to be out of sorts on. So, all right, my local yarn store, Fuzzy Goat in Thomasville, Georgia, they would do, and like I said, they probably still are, twice a week Facebook Lives, and they would show things in the shop, and you could just like order, like, ooh, yes, I want that, ooh, yes, I want that, and they'd prepare the order, and you could swing by and pick it up. Well, one of the things I got was this wool stock bundle by Blue Sky Fibers. And the intent was to make some felted bowls. So, me being me, again, I tend not to do things the simple way or the straightforward way or the intended way. I gotta make things complicated sometimes. I went looking for knitted bowl pattern, or for bowl patterns for felting, and I found one that ends up looking like a flower. And I just thought it was so cool. So I have the first one knit. Obviously, I haven't felted it yet. And it's got like this Moebius strip kind of dealy going on with the edging, so it was really interesting to knit. And I just have to do the other one because it's for a set of 2 like nesting bowls. So there's that. So I'm gonna knit one bowl and felt them both. Next up on the hit parade is, oh, now this is an ambitious project. This is what I'll call fiber mixed media, because, or at least mixed genre, because this is actually a combination knit and crochet project. The center of this, which kind of, it just looks like a big doily right now, but the center is actually one of the knitted circles from Nikki Epstein's Knitting in Circles book, which, oh, I love this book. Let's see, do I know which one I did? Somewhere, I don't know. I have to, and yeah, I have like sketches in there trying to keep up with what I'm doing, because I am making this up as I go along. It is essentially going to be one of those circular jackets or vests. Kind of depends on how much yarn I end up having, if it has sleeves or if it's just a vest. So this is the back center part. So it started off with this very pretty knitted medallion, and then I'm just going round and round and round, crocheting until I get to the size I need so I can divide off, so I can put in the holes for the arms, and I'm going to go from there. It is being, I'm making it up as I go along. So I have titled this project, and I'm kind of proud of the title, the Beg, Borrow, or Steal jacket, because I am basically coming up with, it's like, ooh, let's see, let me look through patterns, and ooh, I like that motif. Let's do a round of that. Oh, let's do a round of that, because yeah, I couldn't find one that I absolutely liked. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is all So Happy Jane, who, yes, I adore So Happy Jane yarn. She is, oh, I love her dyes. And so I've got two variegated, well, two lighter variegated, and then I have this great green. And I've got two more balls of this in my little project bag. So I've got this, and I've got these, and I'm pretty much, like I said, I'm just making it up as I go along, and hopefully I'll be able to figure out what I did. But this is something that, yes, I do want to finish. Oops, let me put those back in the bag correctly. And I started this, oh gosh, a while back. Yeah, just a while back. But yeah, so there's that. I love the colors. I love the yarn. I look forward to finishing it so that like I can wear it with something. I envision wearing it like over like a long sleeve tee or something as just like an accent piece, or maybe a tank top in the warmer months. All right, so a couple of different projects, non-wearables, non-whatevers. This is, oh boy, this is a, or it will be, an anglerfish dice bag. He's going to end up with a zipper over his mouth for my husband for his birthday. It was supposed to be his last birthday's present, but I made a mistake. This one is crocheted, and I didn't pay attention to the fact that the book that I got the fishy pattern from was British. And so British crochet terms and US crochet terms are a little different. And so I was doing double crochets when I should have been doing single crochets, and that explains why it's so huge. But rather than rip it out, I decided I'm just gonna roll with it. And so I switched. You could actually see where I switched from the doubles to the singles. Yeah. And as I started to decrease, and it's going to work out okay. It'll work out okay, and I'm going to stuff the back end of it, and that way the active dice bag will only be here. And yeah, and I've got the yarn in it, and actually this yarn came from one of those knit-along blanket projects that I never finished. So yeah, I just repurposed the yarn. But yeah, so this, you know, his birthday's in March. Maybe I'll get it done by this birthday. I guess I need to move that up on the list. And speaking of present IOUs, a couple, maybe more than that, Christmases ago, I got one of these make your own Mythical Friend kits, these knitted taxidermy kits from, oh, let's see, it is by Sincerely Louise, is the creator. And this is the dragon one. You can't see from there. And again, I gave the kit to my husband, who doesn't knit, and I said, I will knit it for you. But I got it kind of at the last minute, and there just was no time. Although it knits up very fast because it's knit in like really bulky yarn. It's all knit. I just have to put it together. It's the finishing that gets me. I'm learning that the getting sidetracked before you actually complete a project is indicative of ADHD brains as well. So I'm working on that. It's a work in progress. Okay, my brain is an unfinished object. Fine. All right, so I have 2 more projects to show you. And now we are getting into the very ambitious. I mean, making up a vest pattern that's basically one big circle with a couple of, you know, slits for arms, that's one thing. A blanket knit in however many, like 54, 63, something like that, squares, that's one thing. These projects are a bit more ambitious. So first is, I'll show you the pattern. The pattern cover. This is the Rosy Cheek by Marzena, oh boy, Krzyzewska. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sure I butchered that. I do apologize. Talk about an ambitious project. This was one of those times where I bought a bunch of yarn that I loved. I loved the color, I loved the feel, and then I was like, what am I going to make with this? And it's actually a mixture of So Happy Jane. Are we shocked? No, we are not. So Happy Jane and Copper Corgi. That, again, I bought them all together and I just thought they looked amazing all together. This is not all, there's a little bit more. But, and I thought they just kind of looked like mermaidish and stuff. And so I went hunting for a pattern. And thanks to Ravelry, I came along this one. Like I said, it's Rosy Cheek. It is a dress. Now, depending on how much yarn I have, depending on how long I can make it, it will either be a dress or a tunic. But I'm calling it my mermaid tunic. And funny story about this one. So I started this, and now, okay, something I don't usually do. We had a conversation at Fuzzy Goat one time when a bunch of us were sitting around and knitting about the differences between technical knitters and organic knitters. Technical knitters are the type that feel the need to have every stitch perfect. If they find a mistake, they're going to rip it out and they're going to fix it. They're going to follow a pattern exactly. And that's fabulous. And there's nothing wrong with that. They make amazing projects. They're amazing knitters. I'm not like that. I used to be a perfectionist. I used to be very hung up on, for me, I was being hung up on letter perfect. But burnout hits, and you know, I think that was during that same conversation, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not a perfectionist anymore. And someone was like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? I'm like, you burn out and you realize that's not sustainable and you just can't do it anymore. Yeah, not the way I suggest doing it. But anyway, I am the more organic type of knitter. I roll with the punches. If there's a flaw, chances are I'm not gonna rip back to it and fix it. I'm gonna just let it go. If it's not affecting the function or the overall fit of something, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just going to keep on rolling and enjoy the knitting. I will also do things like make pattern changes on the fly. I will substitute yarns, substitute needles and hook sizes, and I don't do gauge swatches. she says emphatically, as she holds up a gauge swatch. Because this was such an involved project, and I was trying to make sure it was going to fit me, and the pattern was not necessarily written for someone my fluffiness. I did the right thing. How many times am I going to find out this year how many right things I've done that have not been right for me? Foreshadowing. I did the gauge swatch. This is in the copper corgi. I'm knitting from the top down. Yeah, so I knit the gauge swatch. I did the math. I cast on the number of stitches that the gauge swatch and the pattern diagrams all told me that would have been appropriate. And I was going gangbusters. I got from, you know, the shoulders down to about the bust line. And I was just about the point where I was going to have to, and I divided off for the sleeves, and I knew I was going to need to try it on at some point. And it felt really big, but when you're knitting things like this, they can feel kind of like big and crazy. But what happened was I was working on it late one night, watching television or watching a movie or something. It was probably like 1 a.m. in the morning. 1 a.m. in the morning. Redundant much. It was probably about 1 in the morning. And I saw something swoop past my doorway. And I'm like, wait, what? And then it did it again. And it did it again. There was a bat in the house. I don't know how it got in. I don't know. God, I still don't know how it got in. I'm still not sure 100% how it got out. But I will tell you that I scurried off of my sofa here in the playroom and dropped my knitting and almost tripped over it, because I had multiple balls of yarn going by this point in the project, and screamed for my husband, who was upstairs, to come and deal with the bat, because I'm terrified of things that fly and swoop. Oh, no, it did not belong in the house. I was so freaked out. We thought we'd chased it out or it disappeared or something, and then it came back, and then I'm like, okay, forget it. And I barricaded myself in my craft room, my playroom here. And I'm like doing research, I was like, oh my gosh. And it's saying that, you know, bats can slip through really tiny cracks. So I'm stuffing fabric in the gaps of the doors, because old house, things don't hang properly. We deal with it. I mean, we love it. It's character, except for when I'm trying to steer clear of a bat in the house. And I slept downstairs on my little chaise lounge rather than go upstairs, because we took the door off our bedroom because it opens the wrong way, and that's a whole different story. Yeah, that's a whole different story. But anyway, I was not venturing into a part of the house where I could not barricade myself off. But as that pertains to the knitting, basically I had gotten this whole thing so twisted and tangled, and I had yarn going everywhere. I couldn't figure out what end was up, and everything was all tangled. I put it away. I put it away for months. I didn't touch it until I finally said, okay, you know what? I kind of want to work on this project again. Because at the point that I was at, it was just a lot of stockinette, which can be really boring, but I had to knit, you know, several inches of stockinette, and I'm like, okay, this is good to do while, you know, I'm watching a movie or something, you know, just chilling out, meditative knitting. So I had to untangle everything. And in the process of untangling everything, I'm like, well, you know what? This is a good time to go ahead and do a fit test. So I put everything on waste yarn so that I could spread it out. Oh my gosh. Can I tell you that the measurements of the garment compared to what I had calculated based on my gauge swatch and the pattern schematics, it was a third larger than it needed to be. It was massive. It was massive. I was like, oh my gosh. So I actually had, and this is the first time I have done this, I've had to do this, is I had there was no fixing it the way it was. I had to rip out the entire thing and start over. And I don't know what inner strength there was in me to start over, but I did. I made an adjustment. I started over, and I am once again to the point where, okay, the brown yarn is the waist yarn to hold the sleeves. So I've got the sleeves divided off on, it's like a raglan top, but there's also a knit, a neckline section, and I am now working from, you know, the neckline down. And yeah, I had to start all over, and that is not something I would normally do. Usually if something would go that far south, I'd just say, forget it. We're just not doing this. But I want this. I want this project to work. So yeah, oh my goodness. So yeah, that's a project in and of itself. Well, I mean, of course it's a project in and of itself, but that has a long way to go, folks. All right, and so the final, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I haven't even counted how many. Maybe when I do the edit, I'll put up a tally. But oh my goodness. But the final UFO, this started out, I don't know, when was the last Summer Olympics? This has been at least 4 years ago, possibly 6. I don't know. It was, I remember I started this, and by the way, let me just show you what it is so far. It's stripey, it's very pretty, it's very squishy. This was another one of those, I am not knitting it the way it's written, projects, and oh, the debate rages on. It is being knit with Blue Sky alpaca silk blend. So it is 50% alpaca, 50% silk. And again, I bought the yarn, didn't know what I was going to do with it at first. Sorry. There's this really pretty like rose quartzy color. There's a soft ivory color. There's a gray, and then there's black. Lord help me with knitting with black yarn, because I just, because of course I decided, I don't know, this pattern that I'm working on, it is a vest. Right side. It's a vest. It's from an old issue of Vogue Knitting, I think. I have to actually find the pattern. The pattern, I had it like on a magnetic board so that I could try and keep up with the different sections. Was it meant to be stripey? No, I just wanted to use this yarn, so I'm making it random stripes. Was it meant to have a black patterned border a la like a Chanel suit? No! No, because there's this cable pattern in the black. There's like this cable and open work, and it's driving me nuts. And then with the stripes, I'd already decided, and then, you know, basically I took what was not necessarily a simple pattern. It wasn't a beginning pattern, because there's a cable section in the lower body of the vest. So that automatically, you know, takes it out of beginner territory, but I'd say it's probably intermediate. I went and I said, oh, you know, hold my beer, apparently, because not only was I sizing it up on the fly, I was adding complexity by having a contrasting band and the stripes. And because I wanted to be able to keep the stripes consistent front and back, I had already decided that I was going to adjust at the armholes to knit them as one piece and then steek them. Yeah. I don't do things the simple way sometimes. But I am seriously giving consideration, and I don't know if I'm going to hate myself or not for this. I have not decided whether or not I'm going to do it or not, but I am very tempted to frog this to rip it and restart doing the entire thing in one tube up to the V-neck, so that I can keep all of the stripes consistent without having to do multiple little balls of yarn. And then steeking not only the arms, but the front placket. I'm giving serious consideration to it. I think it might actually go faster, and because I'm still, like, you know, dying on the hill of the black edging along the neckline, the armholes, and the bottom hem, I'm thinking I'm just gonna do like a basic rib on it and save myself a lot of drama, because you're not gonna be able to see the 4-stitch cable pattern on the little placket and edging to begin with. It's gonna disappear, so why am I? Yeah, that's what's happening, folks. So there's a very good chance that this lovely pink, gray, and black and ivory work in progress, aka UFO, is going to be a restart. And if so, it will be the second restart in the history of, oh gosh, anything. I generally don't restart projects, whether it's fiber projects or other projects. I just roll with it. Maybe my meds are working. Maybe this is a testament to my meds working. Maybe it's a testament to my growth as a fiber artist these 14 years. No, I'm sorry, 16 years. It's been 16 years since I taught myself how to knit. That's a story for another time. And I've been crocheting off and on since I was like 8 or thereabouts. Although I didn't start following crochet patterns until I taught myself how to knit, because that was finally what unlocked the key to figure out the patterns. Oh my gosh, so I have gone on for quite a while. I hope you found this interesting. Show me your works in progress. I want to see what UFOs you have stashed in your knitting closet or your crochet closet or in a chest somewhere. What do you have sitting around that you maybe want to finish? I don't know that I'll finish all these projects this year, but I'd say that sounds like a pretty good goal, you know? Especially if you're not looking to spend additional funds and you've got a lot of projects in progress and you've got all the stuff for them. You know, maybe it's not a bad idea for us to concentrate on getting those done. Now, will my creativity all year be fiber projects? No. I will say this though, I tend to come back to fiber art consistently. I might cycle through a lot of different things over the course of a year, even over the course of a month sometimes. It really depends on where my brain is pinging and what is interesting me most at that point. But fiber art is one of those things: knitting, crochet, needlework, weaving. Ooh, yeah, that's a whole different thing that okay, we're gonna get into that another week, another update. Yeah, there's just so much about fiber work, that whether it's the tactile sensations of feeling these soft Yarns run through your fingers, the ability to wear or use the things that are made. I do have one finished wearable made out of So Happy Jane, Sassy Ballerina. God, that's like my favorite. That was what made me fall in love, was So Happy Jane yarns. And it's a capelet, and I get compliments every time I wear it. Now, that's not why I wear it. I wear it because it's fun and it feels good, not just against my skin, but because it feels good to wear something I made. It's just, it gives that little dopamine rush. And again, that's what the ADHD brain is searching for. And if that is how I can provide my brain with that little boost, well, heck yeah, I'm gonna do that. But the other thing about fiber work for me is, and I know this is true for a lot of people, is it's very meditative. It's very, you get into a rhythm, a groove, just the stitch after stitch after stitch. maybe not, some complex patterns might keep you on your toes, and sometimes you want something to challenge you, to distract you from whatever is going on, because let's face it, folks, the world is a weird place right now. There's a lot of stuff that we might need distracting from. So a complicated pattern, bring it on. But sometimes when you're overtired and you're overworked and you're overstressed, you're just over it. What's going to work best is a simple pattern, like, you know, the granny square, the block for the crochet along blanket, because it's just that repetition. It's that soothing repetition, like the sound of train tracks, the whatever. You're creating that own rhythm by the manipulation of the yarn and the hooks or the needles. And I think that can be very, very soothing to our souls when they've been run a little ragged. So anyway, this has gone on far long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I will be checking in again with you next week. I have a feeling that this blanket is going to be my constant companion for the next month until it's finished. And then I will probably, I'll probably start work on the stuffy type projects, like either finishing this dice bag or assembling the dragon. We'll see. We'll see how far I get, how quickly I get there. Again, thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with me today. I'd love to see what you're working on, what your UFO or work in progress stash looks like. Have you ever frogged a project that you're, you know, more than halfway through or even a third of the way through on a complex one and started over? Or did you just, you know, let it go? Tell me in the comments, share your stories. I'd love to see what you're working on. Remember to tag any posts of Return2Creativity on social media, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.